fundraising money with governmental affairs and tree pack. But the whole bottom line is we want the best for our property owners, and we want their rights protected. And so we are here to hear what our mayors have to say for our great city. First, we are going to have them come up and tell us a little bit about themselves, their platform, and why they are running. First, we welcome Paul Alexander, and you'll have about 10 minutes, please.
To put this election in historical perspective, we have to go back all the way to around 1928, 29, 30, when there was enormous growth in San Angelo, and what we see downtown, the icons of downtown were established. And that is what we have in front of us today in San Angelo. There are three things that our next mayor has to know very well to be qualified to serve you in the best interest of San Angelo. First, the tax rate. The tax rate has to come down. This climshell deal here is an opportunity for us to get the tax rate down so that people can invest in San Angelo. These are outsiders coming in, having to pay our high tax rate, and it discourages them from coming to San Angelo. And when the industry is not here, we don't have the tax base, and that means we in this room, the citizens, foot the bill, and industry is just they're going somewhere else, and we don't want to do that. We want to create a competitive environment here. We've got to get the tax rate down. I will lower the tax rate 2 to 3 cents next year and 3 to 4 cents the following year. Just so happens I overheard our mayor, Alvin New, very smart man, say he would like to see it come down 2 to 3.2 cents. Very close to what I said to you. So I said, Alvin, we got to work together, and we're gathering data, doing projections. We're looking at how many dollars we're collecting at the registers. We're up 12% over last year already, and this is the very beginning. And I'll go through that in just a second with Michelle, how I know what's going on. But we have to look at our public safety situation. These people are going out to the oil fields, and we have to add dollars to the payrolls of our city employees and first responders, because we have to keep them here. And if they're leaving for the oil fields and we can't pay them enough, and there's not enough housing, we'll get into that in a second, then we need this policemen now more than we have in the past, with a lot of people coming in from out of town. And so that presents a problem for us. So we'll work on that. And our street maintenance. I think that all three candidates up here will work on streets. We'll have the extra money to work on streets. It takes $10 million, $20 million to really make a significant difference. Perhaps in 7 years we can replace all the streets that need attention, and that would be a good goal to set. Now, second, the next mayor needs to know how to handle hypergrowth in San Angelo. I have a degree in planning from Texas A&M. So I know a lot about how to plan. I also had some graduate training in business administration here at Angelo State University, and I took a statistical analysis, so I understand how to look at data. I can think like a businessman and know who I am. My family is heavily invested in San Angelo. We have a lot of businesses in San Angelo, and it just so happens I'm the part owner of over a dozen businesses, and also went out and created two businesses actually on my own. Sonic Drive-In has a Sonic Live radio. I also have a bowling network. These are radio networks that I created from nothing. I thought, hey, you know what? There's a market gap there, and so I created these networks. It's kind of uncharted territory, but it doesn't bother me to go to uncharted territory. I'm a creative thinker, and I come up with ideas. They're not all the best ideas. Not all ideas are good, but I can come up with lots of ideas, and the ones that are good are really good, and that's where I move forward in my own personal businesses. So I do the same thing here in San Angelo. You've heard a lot of good creative ideas, and some that aren't so good, but the good ones are the ones that get us out in front of everybody else. So I'm talking about the opportunities and threats. The way to look at this clientele situation in which there's hypergrowth and people moving in is there are opportunities like lowering our tax rates. in fixing our streets, but they're also threats to the quality of life that we've come to know in San Angelo. This oasis in West Texas is threatened by enormous amounts of people coming in that can't find housing. So for example, over here at Angelo State University, they'll all pile into the same house in a quiet neighborhood on Nazareth Street, and I'll get a phone call, you know, what's happening, Paul? What's the laws? What's the ordinances? And can you come help? Well, yes, I can come help. That's just the first hint that something's going on. Angelo State University wants to get up to 10,000 students, but if there's no housing, how can somebody move here to go to college here and if they can't afford the rent and they can't find housing? In Pauline, I just found out from Emma yesterday that the rents are up around 60% in Pauline just in the last 2 months. All right, so rents are skyrocketing already. Things are happening. So what I do, I brought this graph here. This is about the Eagle Ford Shale. They're about 3 years in front of us. And you don't need to read the numbers in the graph. You need to see the lines of this graph right here. And we are on that little bitty one. That's last year, and we're just entering in on this one, okay? The next one is a lot bigger than the other one. But look at this following year, it just skyrockets. So what you see going on in San Angelo this year will be ×4 next year. So if we don't have enough housing right now, and the problem's ×4 next year, and then go ×3 the following year. And you know what else is real particular about this? Is that our Klein shell is 3 to 10 times bigger than the Eagle Ford shell. So we don't know yet where we're at, but potentially we could have a bigger problem than them, bigger, faster growth than them in southeast Texas, southeast of San Antonio. So we'll pick apart each subject, and housing is something I'm tackling very hard right now because housing is the core of all the other problems. And I just got into the first responders. Some go to the oil fields. There's gaps in the police department. It takes $65,000, 11 months to train a policeman. We got to get on this fast right now because we know they're heading out. We got to train them. Again, if there's no housing, they'll come to San Angelo, and our police force shrinks when it needs to grow. So we got to minimize that stuff. The third thing that your mayor really needs to know about is water. Well, I knew that 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, I began studying water very, very much. Now, if you look on your tables and grab, there's 2 on each table. This large sheet, it's not very large, you start looking at the size of the print, it can be bigger. Nobody, I found, has ever mapped out the system schematically in San Angelo. So when I came into office, nobody handed me a book and said, hey, Paul, read over this. This is how you catch up on water. So I began taking notes and making it easier for the people that follow me, where I can go to them and say, look, here's the map, and here's the Dropbox files. This is, you know, Dropbox is electronic. Here's all the documents I have. Here's how I know what's going on, and here's where we're losing water, and here's what can improve. And so I've studied all this so that it makes it easier for the next, but also, I know what I'm talking about when I talk about water. You can ask me questions. I would think we need to quadruple our water supply in the next 10 to 15 years in order to just get this behind us so we can economically grow San Angelo with companies coming in that aren't scared we're going to run out of water. It's a threat to Angelo State as well. It's a threat to Goodfellas. It's a threat to your property values. We've got to get rid of this problem. We have started with the current council. We got the Hickory Aquifer coming in. Well, that'll almost double our water supply right there. I consider it to be a backup water supply. We're getting new pumps into the fields to reach a capacity that we can, we want to reach base capacity in San Angelo, the use inside your houses. We're going to barely squeak by and get that done by 2014, maybe somewhere in September to December 2014. We will have the Hickory online for you and get the radium out so that it is water you can drink and use. But we need to do better than that. We need to conserve the water we already have. All that water you put on your lawns, all of it, think about this. We're losing that much and more in our lakes right now because of the way they're configured. They evaporate the water, they lose water underground. There's a lot I know about that as well. And I think we need to be more aggressive about conserving the water we have right now. If I went out here and turned on 2 fire hydrants full blast and left them all year long, you would lynch me. You would come and you would throw me out of San Angelo. Well, we're doing that, you just can't see it. So the city of San Angelo needs to do a better job conserving the water we're holding in these lakes. I have ideas and I have some thoughts about that. Can't get into all of it right now, I don't have enough time. We also need to reuse our effluent water. The sewer plant treated water goes out to the farmers. We can let them have some of that water, but we need some of it. We can water golf courses. We can send pipes through our city along the North Concho where you can tap in and get this water. We can save water by reusing that water. Stormwater capture. Some new stuff that just came out, the Red Roya. We can capture 5 months of water per year that are average. There's other places we can do the same. And we're working with Midland and Abilene, and you know Midland has economic power. They do. And we're looking at other water sources. One's northeast of Abilene, it's a new lake. I can't review the rest of them with you, but that muscle right there helps San Angelo as well, the Midland muscle, I call it. I'm a fellow business owner. I pay taxes, so it's not, my uncle says it's not, you're not an owner, you're an over. So I'm with you. I share your values. I have a degree from Texas A&M that's spot on to beat this development that's going on, this growth that's going on. I've researched and tackled our water problems. I can move forward from here. The mayor has a lot of influence on that area. I see the big picture. I formulate ideas. I come up with consensus working with other people. I work well with them and select the best ideas, and I execute those ideas. And I have no problem if we've never seen the problem before. I can do it, if nobody's ever seen it. And I have the vision and organizational skills to move us. By the year 2027, San Angelo will be the most desirable business city in the state of Texas. That's our vision. I have the skills to get us there. I appreciate your vote, and I'm honored to have been here today to speak with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Next, we have our second candidate to tell us a little bit about himself, his platform, and why he is running, and that would be Kendall Hirschfeld.
Thank you. I don't have a fancy iPad like you do. I was joking. No, I just have paper. Thank you for having me here today. This is a great opportunity for the city, and there's a lot of good things that we're looking for. My name is Kendall Hirschfeld, and I'm representing single-member District 5 on the City Council for the past 3 years. And what I've observed, the roles of the council member, and the mayor are distinctly different. An effective mayor keeps the council focused and on task. An effective mayor guides issues to a majority decision. An effective mayor ensures there's room for the needs and progress of each district. An effective mayor ensures there are ideas listened to from everybody, and that we get losing my trot here. Sorry. An effective mayor must lead. With emerging oil field activity in our area, San Angelo needs to be ready to face the challenges that are to all facets of our infrastructure. And that goes for water, wastewater, streets, our public service, public safety, everything. We have to be dealing with that one step at a time. And the truth of the matter is we don't know what's going to happen. We have a speculation of what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen. We can have great, grandeur ideas, and what I'm really afraid of is that everyone's spending the money before the money's actually here. That's a big, big, big concern of mine. We talk about giving all these big tax rates, tax cut decreases of 2 to 3 cents. I'm sorry, Paul. We don't know what we're going to have. We don't know when we're going to have it. We don't know how it's going to turn. Additionally on that, we're going to have 4 new council members on this year's council. 4 new council members. Okay? It's not a bad thing. Because each one of them is going to have their own priorities, their own agendas, their own thoughts, their own ideas. And we have to listen and hear what all their ideas are. And we don't know if they're going to be the same as mine, the same as his, But same as Dwayne, we don't know that. We truly don't know that. We have to wait and see where we get to. And that's why I go back that what we need is experienced leadership. We have to have experienced leadership that is able to deal with all these issues on a regular basis and experience managing and leading people. Spent a majority of my life at Hirschfeld Steel. Okay? And Hirschfeld Steel has become one of the national leaders in the steel fabrication industry. And you know, while I was there, what made us great was our people. We have a very diverse group of people that work there, that manage from all the way from the welders and fitters up to the project managers and everyone else that's out there, plant managers. And the key to what made a success was listening to each one of those people. Listening to all the ideas, hearing and seeing what was going on, feeling the pulse, and getting the ideas and taking an idea over here and getting that much of it and moving it over here and expanding it and moving it on. And what pulled it all together was leadership. The leadership is what made the difference there. Having all the people, having an idea over here, over here, over here, but not having the ability to pull it all together and bring things together as a group. That's what leadership is all about. Not one person had the right answer. A bunch of people had the right answer. A bunch of people had a portion of the answer. So it was pulling it all together. I spent my life in that. I was raised in that. I was trained in that. That's who I am. So what you see is what you get. I know we face a whole lot of challenges, a lot of things that we know, a lot of things that we don't know. And I've been through the experience of turning what-if scenarios into action. It's what I did for a living. It's what I do for a living today. I've done that for years. So we don't know what's going to happen. We could be looking at everything as the sky's falling. Well, I look at it a little bit different. I look at it as a time for us to rise to the occasion. And the difference in how we get there, or difference of what we do with the skies falling versus rising to the occasion, is experienced leadership. I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets. I've managed hundreds of people in multiple states, multiple cities, from all around. That's what I've done. I understand the budgets, and I will tell you that I believe that everything starts, first and foremost, the core is our budgets. That's where everything starts. Where you spend your money is where your priorities are. And that's the same thing the city has to be looking at in every action that they do. Where we spend our money is our priorities. Some of them are great now, some of them maybe should be looked at. But those are items that we have to be dealing with on a regular basis. I want to see the city take care of its business. And I want the city to get out of your business. I feel I can be an effective mayor. I want to be your mayor. I'm Kendall Hirschfeld, and I would like your support.
Thank you, Kendall. Our next candidate we are pleased to have with us is Dwain Morrison.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I look forward to addressing this group. I enjoyed the lunch, and I'm wearing some of the barbecue sauce home with me. But I think before I start, I want to say one thing, and that is in regard to what Larry Edmonton said when he led our prayer. When he prayed to the Lord for rain. Because I think that we need to realize that as a city, that we can do so many things to protect ourselves, but rain comes from one source and one source only, and we must continue to ask God to provide it. And I am pleased to be sitting before a group of people that realizes the importance of the Creator and the problems that we have. I am Dwain Morrison. I am running for mayor. I have been a member of the San Angelo City Council for 10 years, and I have represented the northern area of our city. I have been opposed the last 3 times that I have ran, and I have worked and worked hard for my district. I have been passionate, I have been zealous, and I have done everything possible in my ability to protect the interest and represent the citizens in District 2. And I have received, I have earned their respect, I have earned their support, I have earned their loyalty, and I am humbled and I am honored by the support and the loyalty they have given me. But I received that, I earned that because I gave it to them first. I want to be your mayor. It's been on my bucket list for some time to be mayor, and I'm almost 63 years old, and I'm running out of time. It's saying time to do something. I want to be your mayor. I was born in this city, still live within 2 miles of where I was born, as was my wife, as was my mother. My daddy was 6 weeks old when he got here in 1929 and went on to work 40 years for San Angelo National Bank until he retired. My roots in this city are deep. I love this city. I love our citizens, and I have respect and honor for every citizen, every hardworking, tax-paying citizen in this city. My bride of 42 years is with me today, Vicki. She also is a native of the city, and Vicki has just retired after 29 years in the San Angelo school system as a teacher. I've been a fence builder. I've been a perfect fence builder, they say. I wear a size 17.5 shirt and a size 5 cap. They tell me that that is what a perfect fence builder is, but I've worked hard. It's been a one-man fence crew. My sons have helped me. All 3 of my sons grew up and worked in my fence business with me. My sons have since gone on to graduate from ASU. They are all professionals in this city, and I'm very proud of them. My daughter-in-law runs a physical therapist company here in town. She also is very successful. Vicki and I, however, have not always been blessed with prosperity. We have worked hard. We have struggled. And when my children were at home, we struggled. We know what it is about, and we know what these people are living and going through every day in this city, because half of the families in this city live on $35,000 a year or less per year. That's the median income. And because Vicki and I live that way while our kids were going to school, I understand the struggles that many of our citizens are dealing with on a daily basis, and I have compassion for these people. I understand what they're going through, and I can relate to them. Vicki and I never had much, but we don't owe anyone, and everything that we own is ours. And we learned very early in our marriage how to squeeze every dollar, and we lived frugally. And I will protect your dollars as mayor in the same way that I protected my own. We don't waste money, and I won't waste your money as well. This is my city. I love it, and I want to be your mayor, and I want to earn the respect of every individual in this city, even as I have earned the respect of my district. Now, this is a serious part of my message. I'm not happy with the way things have gone on the city council in the last couple of years. I'm not happy about it at all. This probably started in January of 2012 when our council voted to eliminate a code of conduct, an ethics rule that had been in position in our city for years to protect the citizens, that said no member of the council or any board or their families can ask for or receive 1 nickel of tax money until they have been off the board for 6 months. January 2012, by a 4-2 vote, Johnny Sills and I voted against it. By a 4-2 vote, this code of ethics, this conflict of interest, was changed. The very next item on the agenda was a mayor that is sitting on the council today that owns an interest in a company to the point that he has a seat on the board of directors. We granted $3.6 million of your tax money to a sitting mayor. It ain't right. It wasn't right in January of 12, and it is not right today. And I feel that we betrayed our citizens when we did this. I've been on the short end of more 6-1 votes in my 10 years than probably anyone else in the history of San Angelo. I am not a rubber stamp. I will not rubber stamp city staff. I will not rubber stamp city council. If I don't think it's right, if I'm not fully convinced that it's right, I will not rubber stamp it. I cannot do one thing about the problems in Washington, and I think they're morally, financially, and spiritually bankrupt. I can't do anything about Austin, but I can do something about the city of San Angelo. I don't like the way council is gone. I think it is a negative, and I want to do everything in my power to make it a positive. The only way to make it positive, and the only way to earn the respect of the citizens, is to operate in a way that is open, that is honest, that is fair, and that is transparent. And that's what I'm promising you today. Another confession. I'm not an expert on anything. I've worked hard all my life. I know what that's about. I'm a good fence builder, but I'm not an expert on anything. And the only time the word smart has been used in conjunction with my name, it's been used as an adjective, so there's not much to be proud of there. I have to research and read and study every item on this agenda. It takes me a long time to prepare for a council meeting, because every item on that agenda is important to someone. And I have a responsibility to each and every citizen that comes before our council, and I take this extremely seriously. I have taken it serious for 10 years, and I will take it serious as a mayor. I prepare myself for meetings so that I understand, so that I can give people a fair shake. But I don't have to be an expert on everything. San Angelo is a home rule city, which means that we hire experts. We have a very qualified city manager that is in charge of our city. He then has qualified men or women in every department in our city that are qualified. They are the experts. I don't have to be. It's not my business to go down and run the daily nuts and bolts operation of city government. My job is to be a mayor. My job is to represent the people of this city. My job is not to represent the bureaucrats in the city, because Daniel does a very good job of representing his citizens. My job is to represent the citizens of this city, because the citizens were here first, and the reason we have a city council and the reason we have a city government is because the citizens of this city were first, and they are the most important. We've got some problems. We've got some opportunities. We look at taxes. We've reduced our taxes 10 cents since 2006. But do you realize what we have done on the backside? We have reduced your taxes 10 cents since 2006. That amounts to $3 million, about 500,000%. And then we have come back on the backside and increased your fees to an amount that is even greater than what we gave you back in your taxes. You're actually worse off now than you were when we started reducing your taxes. Stormwater alone is $2.7 million a year. There's 9 cents of the 10 we gave you back. Last budget cycle, we gave you 1/2 cent, $150,000. The very next agenda item, we raised fees to the amount of $258,000. Doesn't take much to do the math there, does it? We've got water problems. We're working on them. Let's talk about franchise fees. We raised all the franchise fees last year. We raised fees at the dump. We raised fees on water and sewer and cable and telephone. Every bit of that's passed on to you. And Lord help you if you need an ambulance. Did you know it's going to cost you up to $950 now to ride in an ambulance when it used to be $250? I'm through. I promise to follow principles that were established 2,000 years ago when Jesus said, put God first, put your neighbor second, put yourself last. That is the principle that I want to build upon in City Council. That is the foundation that I want to build on. And if we have this type of a principle and a foundation, we can solve any problem that we encounter. I will not lie to you. I won't steal from you. I won't betray you. I won't deceive you. I will not put my personal agendas and my personal items ahead of you. I want to be your mayor. And I will earn your respect the whole hard way. I'll earn it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Now we have from our Governmental Affairs Committee, we have 3 prepared questions, 1 for each candidate. The first question will be asked to Paul Alexander by Linda Parker. Linda, would you come up, please?
This is lengthy, so let me read it. Per the lawsuit agreement with the Hickory Underground Water District, the amount of water to be supplied to San Angelo is a very limited amount, and this source contains radioactive materials that will require more funds than the $120 million already approved in order to find ways to dispose of the nuclear waste once the use is implemented. Can you give us your view or thoughts on using the Hickory now based on the cost of finishing this project the council approved, and on what you believe to be other water source ideas?
So that's part of what do you...
I'm sorry.
So, other water sources, okay. All right. That's the question we're trying to see. Okay. Here, the lawsuit's about 10 years ago, all right? And so Brady sued San Angelo, and the judge said, well, here's your water schedule. Here's how much water you can pull out. And it started with 1,500 acre feet a year, and now it's up to 2,750 acre feet a year, and we get to bank the water. So this has been going on since 1997, so longer than 10 years. But it's been going on, I actually think it's retroactive. So anyway, there's 37,000 acre feet that is ours in the Hickory Aquifer that has 1 million acre feet in it. Okay? There is radium in it. About 38 picocuries is the last figure I got. And we do have to put that radium down to below 5 or below. So 37,000 acre feet. We use about 9,000 acre feet in our houses every year. Gives you an idea. 4 years of water, but over 4 years we bank more, so really 5 years of water. Okay, the Hickory is a 5-year water backup.
And what funds, how are we going to get the funds for the plant that's going to...
Okay, we borrowed $120 million, and we did it at a really good time because the economy was horrible and these subcontractors were starving, and they shot us some really good bids. And when we did everything we were going to do, we had, was it $19 million left over? And so earlier I alluded to we're adding more pumps out there. We only have 71% of our indoor base use ability out there to get to San Angelo. You can only get water here at 71% the amount we use in our homes in the winter. So we're adding 5 to 7 more pumps. Depends what the price comes in on those things. And when we get those extra pumps, we'll bring it up to 100 to 110%, so maybe we can use water in our homes and water our trees in this period of extreme drought when none of our lakes have any water in them. So we do have the money. We're using all the 120 million to improve our situation. We're going to use it all. Then there's maintenance fees, but that plant, that radium plant, is paid for with this loan. So we have the money, and it's been appropriated and it's good. We did it at the right time, guys. Low interest rate and starving contractors. Perfect. So it's the best we could do at this point in time. And other water sources, I went over them in the presentation. We have stormwater capture. We have affluent water we're working on, trying to get some of that affluent water that it's a level 2 affluent water that you put on farms, but you cannot put it on public lands. We can lift it up one more level, we can put it on our parks. Maybe even send it downstream as part of our requirements to send water downstream. We're working with Midland Abilene on new reservoir northeast of Abilene. There are other ideas that we have that I cannot talk anything about, but Midland's a big powerhouse there. And I'm missing one. Oh, conserve the water we have. Number 2, fire hydrants wide open. A lot of water going away. We can move South Pole water to the North Pole, reduce the amount of surface area of our lakes, reduce our evaporation, reduce underground losses at the South Pole. We can do this below Lake Nasworthy. Reduce this down to the way God had them in the first place as a small river, and they won't leak the water underground, and they won't evaporate it above ground. The loss is 7.0 cubic feet per second times 7.48. So to figure out 50 gallons a second just goes away all the time. So we got to stop that. We have to be conservative, and I probably forgot one. But you get the idea. There's a lot of different things. And let me tell you, we never went into this drought. In 2011, most of these projects I'm talking about would not have gotten started. The Hickory would have, but we don't think until we're in trouble. And that's what God does. He puts us through these stresses, and we get smarter. It's our reaction to God's plan. Okay, His plan is not as straightforward as pray for rain and get it. It is God puts us through these stresses. We adjust, and we are doing it. And I think that's what we're supposed to do. Think about it. Everybody in the Bible is going through stresses, and they're going through tough times. That's what God does to us. Think about that. And we've gone through it as well. And I think I might have answered all the questions.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, our next question will be from Kendall Hirschfeld, and it will be from Terry Jackson.
At the recent City Council meeting, the Council approved a planned development on Ben Pickland with a campground recreational park. Can you explain your views on RV parks inside the city limits and your views on using such options as special use permits or variances, which are permanent use permits, versus the possibility of the city looking at a temporary use permit that have been suggested?
Thank you. Interesting question. And yes, we just fielded that issue on Tuesday. I'll be the first to say that I grew up where we had a big old travel trailer. Okay, it was a big champion, a big blue thing. We drove around all across Colorado, went up to Yellowstone. We did all that kind of stuff. So I enjoyed RVs. Okay, well, I enjoyed that. We did camping. We did all those kind of things. That's traditional RVs. I don't have a problem with traditional RVs, okay, in any way, shape, or form. Now, the problem I've got is with this temporary, it's a temporary housing development is what we're looking at today. I do have a problem with that. I believe that's going to create problems that we don't know the answers to, that we don't know the outcome of what it could finally end up being. I think that could devastate property values, and I believe it can create a lot of bad problems. The potential increase in liabilities will not be covered by potential increases in revenue. What I mean by that is that most of these developers that I understand that are coming in looking to build these temporary housing developments, again, I want to differentiate between an RV park and a temporary housing development, is that, most of them are not from here. Most of them are speculators from outside of town. So they're coming in and trying to buy pieces of property and then creating these activities in town. And the amount of tax revenue that we might generate from that is going to be much lower than having a permanent structure on that land. Additionally, long term, we don't know the outcome of what's going to happen with that. There's been a comment too that about possibly using the industrial park as an RV park. I think that's a bad move. As you guys are seeing out here, how the inventory of houses is fluctuating, is changing, okay, and it's changing every day. That's an activity that we as a city, via the Chamber of Commerce, need to be promoting and pushing the industrial park to be doing what it was supposed to be doing, to have industrial and commercial development out there. I know that if I was going to invest $4, $5, $10 million in a manufacturing facility, I wouldn't want to have the huge RV park, a huge temporary housing development right next to my plant. And then I guess finally the question is, does the city government need to get involved by writing new ordinances or allowing special use permits? That's exactly right. I mean, these special use permits are for the longevity of the property. And I have a problem with that. Because again, we don't know what tomorrow brings. We're barely able to deal with what we know is going to happen, as opposed to the many things that can happen years and years down the line that we don't know what's going to happen. So we have to be very, very careful about the unintended consequences of our actions that we do today. We have to be extremely careful about that. You know, we talk about with every choice comes an equal action or reaction. Many of them are good. Not all the answers and all the actions that come out of something are good. You really have to think about exactly what you're doing and the long-term effects and how that will have on things. So that's all my comments.
Thank you, Kendall. Our last question from Governmental Affairs member Kelly Clifton, and he will be addressing it to Dwain Morrison.
Thanks, Judy. Dwain, the city comprehensive land use plan defines a recreational area or RV park as being limited to temporary purposes only. What are your thoughts about San Angelo allowing RV parks inside our city limits? And can you also explain the reason why the city council voted for the planned development on Ben Ficklin at the last city council meeting, which now can be viewed as a precedent-setting proof? Dwain.
This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. Because these RVs, and you know, there's all sorts of different names, and a lot of the time we spent the other day was trying to find something to call them. I refer to them as man camps. That's not politically correct, and I have been criticized for that. So temporary housing units, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be a problem. I don't want them in my neighborhood. Nobody else wants them in their neighborhood. I'm the one who suggested we put them in the industrial park because it's been sitting there vacant for 30 years. There's nothing else in it. Let's put them out there and let's police it. But that was my suggestion. The South Concho RV Park. We've got to differentiate between what we're dealing with here. We have RV parks here that are necessary to our city. They are necessary for people to come into our city with our rodeo and our boat races and all of these many different things. And the hotel rooms that are high, we're growing. Our rates are every day expanding. We've got to have these RV parks. They are important. We need them for our visitors. The RV park that we approved was an RV park. It was a park that we approved back in 2007. All we did was added 10 acres to the original park that we had already approved 6 years ago. It was nothing new. It was simply adding some to something that we did many years ago. And this is a high-scale RV park. These people that come into these big high-dollar RVs, the figures I understand, they spend $160 a day in our city. We need RV parks. The problem we've got is these man camps. These man camps where there are 24/7 a day, where the engines are continually running, where the trucks are continually running, where you have opportunities with the people that live in these camps. That's what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with RV parks. We've got 2 or 3 good RV parks in San Angelo, and now we're about to have another one. That's a plus for our city. So RV parks are not my concern. My concern are these temporary man camps. What else did I miss there?
set a precedent that this is
No.
what we're going to do going forward?
No. We approved this in 2007. It's not going to set precedents. We take these things one at a time. We take them as they're brought to us. We're right now trying to establish some guidelines and rules for our planning department so that they can differentiate between an RV park and a temporary housing worker camp. No, it doesn't set a precedence. We dealt with this and we'll deal with them once as we receive them one at a time. What else? They get it? Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne, and thank you to all of our candidates. We are very lucky to have all three of you